bensound.com. bensound.com.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. This is Financial Literacy 101. This is a channel for money-minded people. We're going to jump right into the topic today. You know, it's that time of the season where we're gearing up for Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and Gift Giving Day, Christmas. However you want to, is it Hanukkah? And there's another one, I forgot. But the time of the season where you spend probably a ridiculous amount of your wealth away. And if you're going to do that, have you ever thought about doing a financial gift? You ever thought about setting your kids up for success, or maybe a loved one who's not doing so well? And it's also during the time that a lot of you that live in paycheck to paycheck, spend money that you don't have. That means you're spending your credit card, you're spending your savings, you're going inside of your 401ks, you're borrowing against loans, you're taking out loans to buy people gifts. It's quite ridiculous. So if you're doing that, if you're thinking about doing it, I'm going to tell you right now, I want you to stop. I want you to think about your own future, and I want you to absolutely not make that bad decision, okay? But now, granted, if you are in an okay place, probably not the greatest, but in an okay place, I strive for you. I thrive for you. I inspire you, right? I encourage you to take care of yourself financially and don't go out and buy very, very expensive, extravagant gifts, okay? A lot of times, the materialistic things doesn't equate to what you feel about a person, or that person may not even receive it the way that you intend it to be. Now, I know in the beginning of the screen here, I put up this book right here. And that's just a visual image. Of course, that's your girl, Rosa Parks, okay? If anyone knows, she died back in 2005. They relate to her as the mother of civil rights. I believe that's correct. Hold on. Yeah, the mother of the civil rights movement. The mother of civil rights movement. Rosa Parks, very beautiful, beautiful, intelligent, strong Black woman there. And I'm reading this book again because it has a wealth of knowledge. But I just want you to think about Black labor, white wealth, meaning that someone or an entity or a group of people, and that doesn't mean that people of today, but some of them are still benefiting from those times of slavery and Jim Crow, of our labor and their accumulation of wealth. And now during this season, every year is a repetitive cycle of you going out spending money you don't have. And where you're getting that money from. Where you getting that money from? Let's just hide this. Where you getting that money from? Through loans and credit cards. Yes, I'm trying to speak to your subliminal mind, okay? Your unconscious mind. Because a lot of times we do things out of routine. And we are not being conscious of the things that we're doing. We're just doing things out of routine. I know I give this person a gift. I give this person a gift. I give this person a gift. Why are you giving all these people gifts? Now, you're about to go spend $200 to $600 of buying Thanksgiving food. Okay, Thanksgiving food. And quite frankly, I love Thanksgiving. I love to eat. Unfortunately, again, the same old story. I need a little few pounds, but I will. But I thought about this. Thanksgiving. Why do Black people celebrate Thanksgiving? I thought about it for a while, and I didn't come up with any concrete answer. I said, we go out here and we love Thanksgiving, but we spend hundreds of dollars on Thanksgiving. And I'm thinking about the Pilgrims, which were the immigrants from Europe. Okay, let's just keep it real. The British, the Italians, whoever was at the table, and the Native Americans. There were no Black people during that time. I mean, it was Black people. What I mean is there was no Black people at that table, but nonetheless, we celebrate Thanksgiving. Now we come up with our own definitions of why we do it. It's a time for family and getting together and breaking bread. And yeah, I got it. I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't celebrate Thanksgiving. It just made me think. We had nothing to do really with Thanksgiving, but that's neither here nor there. So let's get into, it's that time of the season where you spend the most money. But are your gifts meaningful? Do your gifts have some sort of financial substance, or are you just giving away stuff? Now, your kids are not going to like what I'm about to say, and you're not going to tell your kids this. But you ever thought about getting your kids bonds, financial bonds, like savings bonds? And we're going to go over a few things here. Now, if you haven't already started a 529 college plan, then you're not setting your kids up so they can have money for college, right? Instead of going out buying very expensive gifts, buying the new PlayStation 5, right? That's next year. Buying the Xbox One and buying the Nintendo Switch and buying the new Jordans, etc. What about go out and start a 529 college plan? And then with that 529 college plan, you can contribute every year of money that you would have spent, the amount, like there's a ratio of money. You have a set, you have a set amount of money that you spend every year, right? You have some sort of budget, or I hope you do. What about taking 25%, 50% of that budget and put inside of that 529 college plan, or setting aside for some sort of trade school? Or what about buying your kids bonds, loved ones bonds? What about sharing or gifting stocks to them? These are all financial gifts that only the intelligent minded will understand. Only the financially minded will understand. Only the money minded will understand when you give someone a money gift or a financial gift. Your kids are not going to understand. They want the new iPhone. They want the new Google Pixel. They want the new Samsung Galaxy. They want all the new video games, want all the new clothes. And hopefully you're helping them saying, hey, you need to work for this to get this in order to pay for this. Hopefully you're breaking down the cycle, how money actually circulates and cycles through your life and throughout your hands, okay? Because the best thing is cash in hand when teaching a kid about money. Like, okay, here's $10. Okay, here's $10. This costs $3. And then you take with that, well, how much you have left. And then when they start getting used to like, well, I don't have any more money left. Like, yeah, now you can't do anything. You can't pay your bills. You can't do this, do that, or the other. Now, setting your kids up for success is buying them bonds. And you can go right over to www.treasurydirect.gov and buy a series of different bonds. Now, saving bonds are available as Series EE bonds or Series I bonds. That's Series EE bonds and Series I bonds, which actually, believe it or not, a lot of bonds actually pay dividends and they accrue interest. And you can keep those bonds over and over again. And I know if you go over to treasurydirect.com, I'm sorry, not .com, I'm sorry, treasurydirect.gov, you can buy bonds anywhere from $25 up to $10,000. And hey Ross, well, I don't have $25. Do you have $5? You can buy bonds through Stash. You can also buy bonds through Robinhood, okay, which is commission free. So there's many entities and platforms and investment firms you can actually go through and buy bonds. Now, when it comes to 529 college plan, you just have to do a quick Google search, and then I could do the research for you, but then this video will be way too long. This is some things that I know that you guys are intelligent enough to do. And nobody really wants to hear this during this time of the year, right? You need to hear it. You need to hear it because either you're going to do something astronomically stupid with your finances, like go in debt even more on your credit card, spend your rent or mortgage money, miss your electricity or water or sewer or trash bill in order to buy people gifts. It's the most, it's dumb. I'm sorry. It's dumb. It's the hugest mistake you can make in your life because you're trying to map out all your funds. You're like, oh man, well, I got to pay for Thanksgiving and then there's Black Friday. I got to go stand in line for 10 hours to buy a phone or buy some sort of gift. That's stupid. I've never stood in line for anything that long, okay? Unless it was Walmart trying to buy toothpaste. because you're gonna stay that. I mean, because they only got 2 register open. There's 300 people, but that's neither here nor there. But you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. And I'm trying to get you guys into a mindset where it's not that money controls your life, but you control your money, because you can guilt yourself into things that financially you can't get yourself out of. And it all deals with your bank account. You have to start developing good habits and stop developing bad habits. Okay. And I'm just going to show it again, because some of you may get the picture, some of you may not. Where are you getting all this money from? From this, you get this. Okay. From your labor, people get rich. People get rich from your labor. And that's what you need to understand. So you can go over treasurydirect.gov and buy bonds anywhere from $25 to $10,000. You can also go through Stash. You can also go through Robinhood. You can also start them with a 529 savings plan or a 529 college plan. Same difference. Just depends. Or you can even do a 529 prepaid tuition plan. Okay, a little different, but it's the same thing essentially. Have you started your 401k? Ross World, my job doesn't have a 401k. Then I would tell you to do a Google search and look for America's Best 401k. This is trying to level out your mind. This is trying to reverse the concept that you have in your mind about money during this season. And I'm trying to catch you right here, right now, before you go out and spend all this money. Before you go out and spend all this money, because that's what you're going to do. Well, we were, November 17th. We have, what, a week, 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, 2 weeks before Black Friday, and then Cyber Monday. And some of you are already planning to buy 10 people gifts. 10 people gifts. You don't have 10 people's money. You don't. You need to really condense that list and buy them meaningful gifts. And if it's your kids, why not take a portion of that money and buy them some bonds, start their 529 prepaid college tuition plan. There's so many things that you can do with the money instead of just blowing it on them. And you know what? And this is quite off topic. And I'm going to get off topic a little bit, because that's the nugget I wanted you guys to get. I've been somewhat following the Byron Allen lawsuit against Comcast, the $20 billion lawsuit against Comcast. And Byron Allen, who is the CEO, I believe the owner and founder of Entertainment Network Studios, he's basically saying that Comcast is not allowing African Americans to put other networks on their channels and shows, etc., that are black owned, okay, that are black owned, black produced, etc. And I really thought about it. I say, well, is this for self-interest? Because who else is he doing it for other than himself? Then I really thought about a few things. A lot of times when people become leaders in civil rights, a leader in a movement, a lot of times it starts with a particular person. And then when that person is fighting for their rights, then they want to bring other people into the argument. They want to bring other people into the movement for support. But then it branches out with other people like, hey, yeah, they didn't let my network on. And then it becomes a movement, okay? Then it becomes about civil rights. Then it becomes much bigger than that person ever intended. So what am I saying? Should you support Byron Allen? If you're in the area to support him, I believe you should. Because it's going to open doors, not just for him, but it's going to open doors for other black entrepreneurs and other black business owners to do business. Because when you have a conglomerate like Comcast, because even when you go to the movies, you'll see like Universal Studios, something like that, and then you'll see Comcast at the bottom. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, do Comcast own Disney? Someone look that up for me, if you will. But I'm not too sure about that. But Comcast is the largest cable network in America. It's the largest cable network in America. Larger than Time Warner, larger than, I don't even know anymore. I just know Comcast and Time Warner. And should you support Byron Allen in that? I believe you should. I'm not saying you should go out and march and do that, this, that, and the other. But I'm saying look at it from a perspective of black entrepreneurship and getting the opportunity, opportunity to do better and build black businesses on different platforms. if you notice, he's not fighting to get on Oprah Winfrey's network, Oprah Winfrey's network. Um, I don't even want to go into that conversation because I don't even understand the psyche behind it. Because I was like, hey man, why don't you just go over to Tyler Perry and see what you guys can do? Go over to Oprah Winfrey and see what you got to do. But he said, hey, listen, this is a civil rights violation because I think the Civil Rights Act of 1866 basically says that you should allow African Americans opportunities to make money, doing different entrepreneurship businesses. And he believes that Comcast is not allowing him to do that. I mean, they pretty much boxed them out. And I'm not saying go out and march and protest and this, that, and the other. I just want you to break it down, right? I really want you to psychoanalyze it up here and break it down. Like it could be just about him, but there's always been the first this, the first that. You remember in history class, they always say, who was the first black this? Who was the first black that? It had to be someone to be the first to open the door for others to come in. And look at what we're talking about. It's 2019. We're still talking about civil rights. I talked to a buddy of mine and I was trying to tell him, he was talking about the Civil Rights Act, I think it was 1866 and then 1866 and 1964, 65. I said, you know what type of country we live in? He said, what's that? I said, a racist country. He said, well, yeah. I said, but do you know why we live in a racist country? And of course, he went on a ramble about slavery and how we came. I said, yeah. I said, the laws. I said, anytime a country has a law or an act or some sort of, and they say the Civil Rights Act, the only way you have a Civil Rights Act is that the country was already racist. You get what I'm trying to say? Like, I try to break things down very analytical up here. Like, you wouldn't need a Civil Rights Act if the country wasn't racist, but there's people who are trying to convince you that the country isn't racist, right? And we know the majority of the country are white people. But are all white people bad? Everybody knows this. No. And I don't even think most of them are bad. Some of them are oblivious to their white privilege. I want to say about 15 to 25% of them are probably racist. The other 75%, or another 25% are probably oblivious. And there's probably another 25% who are just sitting back like, it's not my fight. Then there's the other maybe 10 to 15. I could be rambunctious when I say 20%. Who are actually fighting on our behalf, who are sympathizing with us, empathizing with us, and trying to see things from our perspective. Again, get the book. And I don't know Dr. Clyde Anderson, but I've heard him speak. A very intelligent man. I think he's in his 70s around. No, I think he's either 70s or 80 in his 80s. But he's doing quite well. But all the information you need are in two of his books, believe it or not. Black Labor, White Wealth, and Powernomics. Then I told you about Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice by Napoleon Hill, Dennis Kimbrough. Very, very powerful books. But I want you to guys truly to think about the way you think about money during this season. The way you think about money during this season. What are you giving your time to? What are you giving your money to? We give our money, right? Your money circulates in your household probably once. What are you doing to multiply your cash? What are you doing to multiply your dividends, your revenue? What are you doing to gain profit? How is your money making you money? Now, if you are an old subscriber of mine, when my channel was called, My Money Makes Money, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. You have one income, but you're spending it 5 ways. See, we have one income, but we have many expenses, right? We have many expenses, and we're not using that one income to create multiple streams of other income, whether it be residual or passive income. And we're not teaching our kids finance, right? But we'll go out here and spend $1,000 during this holiday season, buying them extravagant gifts, whether it be clothes, electronics, or taking them on very expensive vacations. Okay? You know what? I would rather you spend your money on a vacation than buying crazy electronics and clothes for people. At least out of vacation, you can create memories and a sense of relaxation and decompression, right? It could be good for your health overall, kind of a reset. I'd rather you spend the money on that. But if you're going to go out, I urge you to take some of that money that you was going to spend on very materialistic things and buy them savings bonds, okay? Treasury bonds. Go over to treasurydirect.gov and buy some bonds. Go through Stash. Go through Robinhood. Find out where you can do a 529 college plan, a 529 tuition plan, whatever it may be. And last but not least, save up money for a trade school at least, okay? Because one thing can start off as a trade school because you look at some of the guidelines and policies of where you get your 529 tuition plan or college plan or savings plan. You can actually use that money for a trade school. Because you like say, you know what, I don't have 60 to 80,000 to be saving over the course of years. I'm struggling myself. But what you can do is start off very little. Then I'm gonna leave you with this. I'm not gonna stay on here long today, but I'm gonna leave you with this. What are some money saving techniques that you can free up a couple of dollars? Because some of us are living paycheck to paycheck, and quite frankly, some of us are broke. And that's why we get even more in debt during this time of the season because we want to impress people. We want make people to feel good. We want to, try to woo people with gifts. You know, tennis bracelet, diamond rings, new cars, cell phones, electronics, tablets, etc. But what are you doing for yourself? What are you doing for you and your family? But I'll say this, what are some money saving tips that you can actually go through? Like, I'll give a couple. A lot of you probably have anywhere from 3 to 5 lights on in your whole entire home. Then I will ask this, who are in those rooms with the lights on? Could you save $1 to $10 a month by simply shutting off the light when no one's in the room? Open up the curtain during the day so you don't turn on the light. Don't let the water run when you're not using it, right? Say you're brushing your teeth. You wet your brush, put toothpaste on it, but some of us keep the water running, don't we? Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. Because we're not really thinking. But you can save money if you're paying for water. Turn it off, brush your teeth, do your thing, turn it on. Like, these are really small money saving techniques. If it's winter and you have your heat turned up, turn it down 5 to 10 degrees. And you're like, well, I'm going to be cold. And believe it or not, I've done it. Put on socks. A lot of us don't wear socks. If you wear socks helps to trap in the heat for your feet. And if your feet warm, pretty much your whole body is warm, right? Because we know that three parts of our body that heat is released the most. Your feet, your toes, essentially, heat releases through that. Your phalanges, right? Your fingers, and also your head. That's why when you see people do anything athletic or exercising, steam coming from their head. So you might, I'm gonna look silly inside my house with socks and a hat on or maybe even gloves, but you're gonna save money. See, a lot of us, we do things because we're like, I don't need to do that. I don't want to do that because of what? You're gonna save money. Why not? Why won't you do that? And granted, I've done it and now I'll do it again. Okay. And now I'll do it again. Don't be so materialistic. Don't be so snooty. Don't be so bougie that you won't do the small money saving tips to free up money. And see, when a lot of times I call money is invisible to some people. Because if 1 month you have a $50 electric bill, and that's your average, but then the next month you took some money saving tips, right? You took some money saving tips, and your bill became $40. You'll just pay it and do your regular scheduled activities and routine. Take that $10 and invest it. Take that $10 and put it inside your kids' lives. Take that $10 and pay down your debt. So, it's that time of the season where we spend buttloads of money frivolously on materialistic and non-meaningful things. I want you to purchase and buy meaningful things like bonds and shares of stock. And bonds are a good way to start your kids off. And you can also gift them stocks. So I urge you, and I'm trying to convince you not to spend all your money during these next 2 months, or rather this next month and a half, whether it be from Thanksgiving to New Year's Eve, because some of you are going to pay for New Year's Eve tickets. You're going to try to fly out the country. You're going to try to go to Vegas. You're going to try to go to all these places to party. And you're going to come back to debt. You're going to come back to bills. You're going to come back to final notices. You're going to come back to 30 days before you get out. All because you wanted to ball until you fall. And guess what? That's exactly what it means. You're going to ball. But then when you come back home, you're going to fall. It's that season again. It's that season again where you make the same mistakes that you've been making for the past 10, 15, 20 years. And if you haven't smartened up yet, if you haven't gained an iota of intelligence, then you are truly stupid. Somebody got to tell you. Somebody got to tell you, because guess what? I was stupid. Sometimes I still do stupid things, but I put myself back on track. Hopefully I became a sounding board for you to be back on track. So it's that season that I want you guys to think about investing and saving and buying bonds and stocks rather than buying people gifts. Make a list, make it small for those people who really mean something in your life, and buy them meaningful gifts. Don't just buy them goodwill gifts. Dr. Daniel Scott says, no materialistic gifts for me this year. Call me Ebenezer Scrooge. I mean, you don't have to be that way, brother. You don't have to be that way. It's not about being Scrooge. It's about buying. If you're going to buy anyone a gift, I just think that it should be meaningful, something they can use, right? A lot of times in our community, we like to show off. And a lot of times we like to show off through gifts. We like to show off through other entities other than trying to gain wealth. You know, when rappers and entertainers, what they do, they wear their wealth. Yeah, they wear their wealth. And that's why you see people like, and of course, if you're old enough, like MC Hammer, he went bankrupt. MC Hammer had over 2,000 outfits. What you gonna do with that? And of course, since he's an entertainer, his gifts are very, very expensive. 2,000? Okay, granted. I looked at my closet a month ago and I gave 2 bags of clothes away to Goodwill. And the reason why I gave it to Goodwill is so I can get that tax deduction receipt and I can fill it out, and up to $5,000, I can deduct that from my taxes for charity. And I can get, so that will help me lower my tax bracket. But he had $2,000, not $2,000, 2,000 outfits of his wardrobe, and then he's bankrupt. Like, why didn't you sell some of your clothes? Those things are nostalgia for white people, I guess. I mean, those little baggy pants that look like he took a dump in the front of his pants. Nobody don't want that. Nobody want that. But as black people, we wear our wealth. Like, this t-shirt right here, Bob's Burger, it's $10, man. It's a $10 shirt. Do I have some expensive shirts that and let's explain expensive. What's expensive? Expensive has to do with the amount of income that you have. Expensive has to do with the amount of money that you have, right? Income, how the money, or your spending power. Because here's the thing. Somebody says that this phone, the Google Pixel, this is the XL, which is $1,000. Somebody say, oh man, that's a really expensive phone. Now, we may say it's an expensive phone when it's compared to the iPhone 11, which is $700. Or we might say it's expensive because $1,000 just is expensive for a freaking cell phone. Or $1,000 is a lot of money and that's expensive. So for me, it is expensive, right? $1,000 to me, because I understand what $1,000 is. Now, some things I might pay $1,000 for, I'm like, well, that wasn't expensive because I have the money, right? And I understand how much things are worth. Now, when it comes to something as simple as a cell phone, which did I really need $1,000 cell phone? No, I wanted one. This is my first cell phone since the Galaxy 7, which is 3-4 years ago. Now, some of you know that you go out and you buy a phone every other year or every year. You know you want the latest and greatest. I buy a cell phone probably every 3 to 4 years. Because guess what? That is when they stop doing security fixes. That is when they stop supporting the device. So that's why, I like to buy one. And guess what? I don't go and say, oh, T-Mobile, AT&T, Verizon, or Sprint, go ahead and upgrade me and charge me an extra $25 to $50 a month on my phone. No, I know that I'm going to buy another phone. So guess what I do? I save my money every month. You get what I'm saying? So every month I saved $100 for this phone. Okay, I saved $100 for this phone on the side, and I tell people to do that. It's that time of the season. It's that time of the season. Throughout the year, you knew that you was going to buy somebody a very expensive gift. Did you save for it, or you're now waiting the last minute? You're going to throw it on your credit card. It's that time of the season. So I didn't want to make this video too long. I didn't want to ramble too long, guys. But I just want to put that in your head about it's that time of the season where we, as a nation, we focus more on materialistic things and things that we can show people, rather not remember where we are and how we got here. So a lot of times we need visuals. We need somebody to throw it in our face. And I'm going to do it again. This is where we come from, guys. This is where we come from. And this is where we are. Okay? This is where we come from. And this is where we are. Now, I want you to inverse that. I want you to flip that. I want you to think about Black wealth. I want you to think about being money-minded. I want you to think about putting your money into drips, okay? Those dividend reinvestment accounts, protection securities, drips, dividend reinvestment, protection securities. That's another thing that you can give to your kids, as well as stocks and bonds. So take that money that you would have spent all these people gifts with, and I want you to take 25, 35, 50% of that money and either buy yourself or a loved one a drip, baby. I'm sorry, I couldn't let it go. A drip, a bond, a stock, a 529 tuition or college savings plan, etc. Don't just let all this money throughout this year entice you and lure you in. Spend all your money on very, very materialistic things. Then at the end of the next year, those things are gone away. Those things are old and raggedy, and it really means nothing. And here you are in a vicious cycle again. Dr. Daniel Scott says, yes, expensive is subjective. Very subjective. Well put, my brother. Well put. Very subjective to the person who has the money and the person who does not. All right. Now, if you guys don't have any questions, I'm going to let you guys go. I don't want to talk a hole in your head because I can start rambling. You know me. And my message today was, it's that time of the season. It's that time of the season where we spend the most money and we get nothing on our return. I would want you to keep this in your mind. These 3 letters, ROI. Those 3 letters, ROI. Return of investment. Return of investment. If you're putting money out in the atmosphere, what is your ROI, your return of investment? If you're putting money out in the atmosphere, what is your ROI, your return of investment? And this is simply about the money you put out versus the money is coming back in ratio to the money you put out. The money you put out, how much money is coming back in from that money? And I'll tell you this, here's a secret. If you're putting money out there, I don't care what it's for, any reason, if you're putting money out there and you have no ROI, you're stupid. You mean to tell me you have no accounts, no investments, trust, no real estate, no anything that's bringing money back into your pockets? Yeah, I said it. You're stupid. And guess what? I used to be stupid, right? Sometimes I had the information, I didn't utilize it. I had the information on how to invest. I didn't utilize it. I had the information to put my money in high yield savings, and I didn't utilize it. I had my money to buy CDs, and I didn't use that information. I had information to buy bonds, and I didn't utilize it. I had money to buy ETFs and index funds and individual shares and stock, and I didn't utilize it. I was stupid. I was dumb. And if you're putting money out in the atmosphere and there's zero return, your ROI, return of investment, then you're stupid. You need to really learn how to invest. And I tell people, I have a link in my description of Stash, and you can go get that information. So I'm going to read another comment here. What is the best investment app in your opinion? Great question. Stash. I take that back. It depends on where you are. Daniel Scott, Dr. Daniel Scott. It depends on where you are in your in your understanding of investments. Now, if you are a new investor, go over to Stash. The platform is well laid out. It has explanations. It even has a learn tab where it breaks down complicated investment terminologies and different things that you would need to know to learn how to invest and where you should start to invest. And they also give you opinions and what they believe is good choices of their ETFs and some of the individual stocks for you to actually invest in. Because they're like, oh, in your stock, you want the moderately aggressive that has a different array of different securities, which are stocks inside of that fund. Now, if you have a good knowledge of investment, then go over to Robinhood. So and also if you have the capital, okay? Because the two differences are with Stash, you can invest inside an ETF or index or individual stock with $5. Now, you won't own the entire fund or stock, but you will own micro fractions of it. But once you accumulate enough money by investing that $5 every month or however, whatever period you put it on, whatever schedule routine you put it on, was it weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly? Then once you get to the amount of how much that stock or fund costs, then you will own 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth. And with Stash, it costs $1 a month. It's not a lot of money, $12 a year. It's $1 a month. When your account gets over $5,000, then Stash every year charges you 0.25% of the money you have in there. Okay, 0.25% of the money that you have in there. Now, if you have some money to play with and you have a little bit of knowledge about investing, then go over to Robinhood, which is absolutely totally free if you don't touch Robinhood Gold. And Robinhood Gold, it is giving you a line of credit, which you don't have to take at all. Go over to Robinhood, set up the account, and you can buy bonds, stocks, and shares at your will, right? But you're paying for the entire price. So if something costs $100, like Stash, you can just throw $5 in there every month, and then whenever that $5 accrues to $100, then you own one of that stock. With Robinhood, you see a stock for $100, you have to pay $100, but there's no commission free. Like there's a lot of other investment platforms that are now being commission free. I know I invest with Vanguard as well. You're just going to pay the expense ratio, and all the expense ratios are under 1%. I think the highest one I saw was like 0.15%. Okay, we're talking about pennies on dollars. Okay, I invest through many different platforms. Okay, I also invest with Wealthfront. Okay, Wealthfront. I forgot the amount that you got to start off with Wealthfront. I want to say it's $500, but I have a link in the description as well. And also I invest with Fundrise. I did a live video a couple of days ago. You might want to check that out. And I bought some IPO and also invest in their real estate investment trust. Okay. Now, if your portfolio don't contain real estate, then you don't have a well-balanced portfolio. You need bonds, you need real estate, and you also need index and ETF funds, and maybe a couple of individual stocks. But you definitely need real estate, which should be anywhere between 15 to 20% of your portfolio. Some people might say 15 to 30%. Hey, a few percentages in there, but you want to have a well-diverse portfolio because whenever a recession, whenever depression does occur, there's still some securities, there's still some real estate that still appreciate interest and actually gain you value in money. Okay. Then there's bonds, which are those government and corporate bonds where they're going to pay you your money back. Okay. Because we understand that bonds are just loans to the federal government and also to large corporations. Okay, that is use that another way to gain capital to do innovations and inventions. But anyway, all right, I think I ramble on enough. Hopefully, Dr. Daniel Scott gave you some information. Hopefully, everyone else who's attended this, it's that time of the season where I want you guys to think with the big head. And I want you to invest your money, not spend your money. Spend a little bit of your money. And when it comes to your kids, think about 529 college plans, tuition plan and savings plans. Think about buying them bonds. You can go to treasurydirect.gov. You can go through Stash. You can go through Robinhood. There's other entities. You have those Series EE bonds. And you have those I-Series bonds that you want to look into. And you also want to look into DRIPs. That's your dividend investment protection securities. Okay. So anyway, this is Financial Literacy 101. I'm your host, Ross Swirl. And I just want to tell you guys peace and blessings. And guess what, man? Money-minded. Money-minded. Don't let Thanksgiving and Black Friday and Cyber Monday get you outside of yourself. And you're welcome, Dr. Daniel Scott. You guys have a great night. And hope your team